Well, good afternoon or good morning, depending on what part of the country you're in. Welcome to our webinar today. I'm Michael D'Alfonso with Abacast, and I just wanted to welcome everybody. We'll get started here in just a couple of minutes. And we've got Matt Sunshine with us this afternoon, and like I said, we'll get started in just a couple of minutes after we get people signed in the rest of the way. For those of you who are just joining, we'll get started here in a couple of minutes. We just want to wait for everybody to get signed in, and then we'll get going probably in another minute or so. All right, I think we'll get started here. Good afternoon or good morning and welcome. I'm Michael D'Alfonso with Abacast, and welcome to our webinar, Successful Digital Strategies and Business Plans for Digital Radio. We think this is we had some very important content for you today, and I think you're going to enjoy what we've got to say. A quick introduction for me. I've been in radio for a long, long time with management, on-the-air programming, and I've spent the last 6 years very immersed in digital with a focus on generating revenue for our radio customers. And Abacast, our mission is to provide live radio broadcasters all the tools that you need to provide online radio streaming in a changing world of connected digital devices. We've been doing this since about 2001, and we've been constantly innovating, and we're used by both terrestrial broadcasters for streaming and online internet webcasters. Our Clarity digital radio system gives you everything you need for a complete online radio service, and we're 100% focused on helping our customers build a solid, profitable digital business. So to get started, we have a couple of poll questions that we're going to post during this webinar. The first one is, do you have a successful digital strategy? That's the question we'd like to know. And in a second, the poll will show up on your screen, and you can vote. And the answers that you can say are, yes, it's working great. No, I don't really have one. Yes, I have a strategy, but it's really not working. Or I just don't know. So just take a second and please vote 1, 2, 3, or 4. And in just a couple of seconds, we'll get your answers up on the screen and see what we think. So let's put the poll answers up there, and I can't quite read them because it's very small on my screen. But you see the answers up there, and you can see that. Well, we'll move right along, I guess. So in digital streaming, there are effectively two basic options, two ways you can go. One, you can simulcast 100% of your broadcast station, or two, you can build a new business to complement your broadcast stations, not to compete with it, but to complement it. And we think that the second option is really the way to go. There's been a lot of talk recently about not streaming, not replacing spots, just running everything straight through, and we don't really think that's a very good model because you're leaving a lot on the table. So if you decide that you're going to run your stream and try to make it a new profit center, there are really two sales strategies you can use. You can have everyone selling digital, your entire sales force out there selling everything you've got, your broadcast, your digital, your websites, the whole 9 yards, or what we recommend is you can get a dedicated digital sales seller or a digital sales team, depending on the size of your cluster and the number of stations that you have, 1, 2, as many people as you think you need, and have them dedicated to selling all of your digital assets across your entire cluster or group. And if you're going to do that, there are some key points that we've determined, and we've been doing this for a number of years, and we talk to a lot of broadcasters, and we've been tracking their success, and we've been establishing the best practices and watching the companies that are very successful at doing this and making money with their streaming. And some of the things that are common to all of them, the first one is that they have a commitment from the very top. The ownership, the general manager, the station management are all very committed to making digital successful. They're committed to making it profitable. That's another thing. You have to make a conscious decision that you're going to make money with your streaming. They've committed to getting their sales teams and their staff, the entire staff, not just the sales team, but the programming team, the traffic department, everybody in the radio station that's involved with it, getting them trained and understanding what digital is all about. And they're committed to streaming quality. That means that they have somebody that monitors their stream regularly. They listen to it on a regular basis, and they make sure that they're not running outdated copy and bad promos and PSA after PSA or copy repeating itself and all of those things. And they all have a mobile game plan, because mobile, we're seeing, is absolutely growing off the charts. It's very, very important. As a matter of fact, Target Spot, one of our ad partners, has done a study just recently that they released this summer about in-car connectivity. And 54% of in-car listening is now happening on a radio player that's built into the car audio system. 32% of them are built right into the dashboard, and another 15% are actually going to the trouble of taking their smartphone and plugging it into the radio to listen to online radio in the car. So that last bastion of broadcast radio's stability, the car, is rapidly becoming a mobile website. And listening at work, we're seeing, this is from the Edison Research Arbitron Infinite Dial study that they do every year. This is this year's study. 33%, almost a third of your audience, is listening to their radio at work on a computer or a mobile device. And the mobile device is very interesting because this is the first year they've actually tracked it. And it's 13% of the 33% are actually listening on a mobile device at work. So what we suggest is that you think about creating a new digital business unit. Get someone to head it up, a director. Give that person a piece of the profit, a piece of the upside. Incent them to make it successful. Make them responsible for making it profitable. Invest in the tools that they'll need to provide a really good product and provide broadcast quality. Make sure your streams sound as good as your broadcast station. Now, I know all your program directors are really stressed out. They're programming 4, 5, 6, maybe more stations. They don't have a lot of time, but somebody needs to make sure that the stream sounds as good as your broadcast station. You'd never run a block of 6 minutes of PSAs on your radio station, and yet sometimes we hear that on some of the streams. So what can you do to prevent that? Well, there's a lot of different types of content that you can plug into your stream. Morning show bits, movie reviews, format compatible new songs. Highlight that fact on your broadcast. Say, listen, if you want to hear new music, go to our stream. We're playing new music all the time. And keep the content fresh and make it compelling. You know, if you're doing a classic rock station, you can be a little edgier than maybe an AC station or some other thing. So keep the content fresh, make it compelling, and your listeners will flock to your stream. Set revenue goals. You should make sure that digital is a new profit center for your company. And, you know, we've got customers who regularly deliver 5 or 6 times the amount that they spend in digital revenue, and that includes their sound exchange fees. So everything they pay for their streaming rates, the sound exchange, all of that, they're making 5 or 6 times that much money from their digital streams. And use an ad sales network to backfill unsold inventory. That means that anything that you're not selling locally, you can put into an ad network and have them fill it, and they sell that inventory, and you generate revenue from that. So the object is to not have any unsold inventory, but if you do, fill it with good content. So now we're going to get to our second poll question, and that is, what is your biggest challenge in selling digital? The answers here are: we lack internal resources, we don't have an understanding of digital, we've got way too much inventory, our sales staff is not motivated, or something else. So please take a second now and vote. And we'll put the results up there. And then we'll move on to the second part of our presentation today, and this is one of the things that we've discovered really works. It's the share of voice model. And joining me now is Matt Sunshine, who's the Executive Vice President at the Center for Sales Strategy. Matt has an extensive background in strategic planning and organizing and developing, and he is one of the top sales trainers and management coaches in the industry. And the Center for Sales Strategy, for those of you who don't know them, they're a great sales training company. They serve clients throughout the United States, Canada, Australia, Malaysia. They're headquartered in Tampa, and Matt is located in Dallas. Matt, welcome.
Hi, how are you?
I'm great, thanks. So we're going to talk a little bit today about the share of voice plan. And Matt and I first met a couple of years ago at a conference, and he explained to me this digital share of voice plan that he'd used when he was at Susquehanna, and it really worked. And I was fascinated with it. We did a webinar a while ago about it, and we wanted to revisit it. So Matt, let's just kind of walk through the basics of this program.
Yeah, thanks. So a little bit of kind of the high concept is you take all your available inventory and you say we're gonna divide it up among a certain number of clients, and we need to generate this much money, and we're just going to give everyone, you said 30 advertisers, everyone's going to get 1/30th. And just even to take a little bit bigger point of view, we really came across this because we were struggling in selling our digital and selling our streaming. We all knew that it was important. We all knew that it was something that we should be doing, but at charging $1 a hour, or here for an extra 10% of your spot schedule, we'll match your schedule online. And we tried every gimmick and every trick that there was, but two things always seemed to happen. Number one is when we didn't charge for it, it had no value. It just was complete, it had no value to the people that we were selling it to. And number two, we never seemed to be able to get it right. And so after lots of frustration, we kind of stumbled across this concept of share of voice. We didn't even know it was called share of voice when we first started doing it. You have it up on the screen. So the first thing that we did, or the first thing that you need to do, is determine your yearly revenue goal. I mean, start with that. If your goal is to do $100,000 in streaming revenue, start with $100,000, and then determine how many slots you're going to have. Are you going to sell it to 20 advertisers or 30 advertisers, or make it a number where I like staying in the 25 to 30 range, because I think that's a doable amount of clients that you can get. So if you want to do $100,000 and you're going to sell 30 advertisers, you basically have to sell about $3,300 per year to each advertiser. That's $278 a month. And that's how you sell it. You say, for $278 a month, $3,336 a year, you're going to be one out of 30 advertisers on our stream. That means that think of it like a wheel. One out of every 30 commercials is yours. Every time we play, you're getting the next one. And when you do that, one of the things that you have to do is then require that they give you an ample number of copy to run, because the last thing you want to do to your poor listeners is run the same commercial again and again and again. This is a high frequency type of a deal. So you might say each advertiser needs to give you 4 pieces of copy or 5 pieces of copy. Well, when you do that, you're having a different conversation with the advertiser than whether or not this is going to work or whether or not this is a good price. Now you're having a conversation about, well, I don't have 5 pieces of copy. I don't have 4 pieces of copy. What would I possibly say? And now you're having a marketing discussion on what you should be saying versus arguing over what the value of each individual spot is. And those are the conversations that are more tied to return on investment for them, because now they're starting to think about what results they're going to need to get versus how much is this going to cost. It's just a much, much better way to approach business. When you're doing this, you also have to realize that not everyone's going to want to participate in this. And some people are going to say, well, I don't want to do that. Well, you only need to sell 30 positions. A typical radio station has on the air, on its terrestrial signal, its over-the-air signal, has about 100 to 125 advertisers per month. We're talking about 30 advertisers doing it this way. So you don't need to sell it to everybody. You just need to sell it to 30. And if it was me and I was looking at this, I would say, okay, if I really want to do $100,000 in revenue, and I know I got to get $3,336 per person at 30, I might just say, you know what, let's make it an even $300 a month. Make it $3,600 a year, and that way if I only sell 29 positions, I'm still to the good. That might be the way to do it.
Right. Okay.
So if you put up the next slide, we can take a look at some of this. Each sale is larger, which means that you're no longer messing around with customers that want to put $10 or $15 towards this. It allows you to focus on your best customers. It allows you to take this a whole lot more seriously. It allows you to apply a lot more focus. I will tell you that when we did this, our salespeople actually got very excited about this because this made sense. Now they just weren't messing around with a cherry on top solution. This became an integrated solution, part of what they were doing on air, which, by the way, if you like the audience that you're reaching with our terrestrial signal, why would you not like the audience that you'd be reaching with our streaming? It's the same people. It's just you're not reaching them when they're listening on their computer or on their phone. It just makes good sense to do this.
Absolutely. And I think that's one of the key things that we get asked a lot is, well, how do you not jeopardize your broadcast revenue by selling the digital revenue? How do you make it additive? And I think that the way you just explained it really makes sense to make it an addition to the broadcast.
Right. It needs to be in addition to the broadcast. I mean, it's not a replacement. It's not a substitution. Yes, the currently in 2012, in this where we are right now, our over-the-air listenership is larger than our streaming listenership. I don't know what that'll be like 5 years from now. None of us do. But currently, our over-the-air listenership is larger. So we don't want to neglect that audience. However, we have an audience online. And why wouldn't we want to reach those people? Why wouldn't you want to send a message to them? Now, the mistake would be to have the same copy run online that you have run over the air. You have a captured audience. People can do different things when they hear a commercial on their phone or on their computer. They have access to the internet immediately. They should take advantage of that.
Absolutely. That means we tell people you should always run the companion banner with your audio spot. And that companion banner should have a call to action. So you can track that and show those results back to your advertisers.
Yeah, I've been doing this more than a long time. And back in the good old days, you'd sit around and you'd go, wouldn't it be great if when the commercial ran, we could actually show the picture of it? Or wouldn't it be great if people could they could push a button on the radio and they could get more information?
Or get a coupon?
Get a coupon. I mean, that used to be like, someday. Well, some days right now, you can do all that. And why an advertiser wouldn't want to take advantage of it? Here's the thing. In your survey in the very beginning, one of the things people said is that they don't understand digital. You don't have to understand digital to understand how to sell streaming, not in a share of voice model. You don't need to know anything about HTML5 or Java or rich media or any of those big fancy words. All you need to know is that you have an audience that is listening online and you have an ability to reach those people, and you're going to be one of 30 advertisers that has access to them. That's all you need to know. Quite honestly, I don't even know how a radio works. I don't know how the signal gets. When I'm listening to the radio in my car, I have no idea how the signal actually gets there. I have no idea how it knows what song is the RDS. I don't know how any of that works. If it breaks, don't call me. I can't fix it. But here's what I do know. I do know how to help advertisers, how to help business owners reach my audience and get results. And that's all you need to know when you're selling share of voice online. I saw that on your first survey that 3 out of 4 of the people on this call say they either don't have a plan or the plan that they have is not working. 3 out of 4 don't have a plan or the plan that they have is not working. So I recommend to all of you, try the share of voice model. It works. Last time we did this call, about a year or so ago when we did a webinar, there were a couple of folks that took this seriously, went out and did it, and they generated a lot of revenue. It worked. I got emails from them. I got phone calls from them saying, hey, Matt, that was really great. I want you to know that we put it to work, and it worked. It should be additive to your broadcast schedule. That makes sense. It also adds amazing reach and frequency for the advertiser. This is really going to help them get results.
And to the point you just made about people that took the advice the last time we did this webinar and it works, we've got a couple of case studies up on our website at www.abacast.com that outline a couple of groups, Federated Media and New Hawk Media, that took the advice from the first webinar, put it to work, and both made a substantial amount of revenue, after they paid all their expenses using this exact plan.
Yeah, I will tell you, sometimes I get phone calls or people will reach out and they'll say, all right, so I really don't understand. This seems like it's just too simple to do. So what do I need to do? And I'm like, don't overthink this. I mean, this is exactly the plan. You take how much money you want to generate and how many spots you're going to sell, and you do the math, and that's it. What you can't do is be compromising. You can't, with the first deal that comes in, say, oh, you know what, on this one, we're going to do a little different. We're going to let them buy 1 month, and they're not going to buy a full sponsor. They're going to buy a half sponsor. No. If you have 30 spots, you have 30 spots. If you're charging $300 a month, you're charging $300 a month. When you have value in it, others will have value in it.
That brings up a real interesting question. We get this all the time. How do you figure out how much you can charge for each of these packages?
Yeah, that's a great question. You know, at some point, there is a cost per thousand. We might not want to sell it that way, but at some point, there is a cost per thousand. You know how many impressions you're going to make, and you know how much you're charging. You can figure out the cost per thousand. So one way would be to look and see if that number is matching, you know, something that the industry says is okay. Although I prefer whatever the market, you know, you test the market. When we did this in, you know, when the stations that I've helped do this, I've challenged them to really test the market and to put the value quite high. Because you're one of 30 advertisers. That's it. It's not like there's 100 advertisers on this. And when people see things that are too cheap, their first thought is, must not be very good. So I like the idea of establishing a good value, setting the price so that it gets people's attention, gets the price so that they go, wow, if you're charging that much, it must really be something. And then focus on it.
Okay. And another question that comes up often is, you know, should I sell, if I've got 5 stations in my cluster, should I sell them individually, or, you know, I've got 4 music stations and 1 sports station or 1 news talk station. Should I sell the news talk station separately, or should I just put them all into one big bundle and sell them that way?
The majority of the folks that I've helped put them all into one big network and sell it that way. They sell the whole cluster all together and just say, this is what we're doing, this is it. However, if the audience mix is not a good mix, if there's some real differentiation, then you could definitely break it up. But if the audiences are complementary of each other, then you could sell it as a network. The only thing is, if you're going to do that, you got to stick to it. You can't say, okay, we're going to sell these 4 stations, you know, it's $300 a station, or it's $1,000 a month is what we're charging. But you get all 4 stations, and you're going to be one of 30 advertisers, and this is what we're going to do. And then the very first person, you say, okay, this guy only wants to do our AM station, so we're going to charge him $250. The whole math just goes away that way. So
Right.
You got to make a decision. You got to make a decision. And I would tell you that if the stations are complementary and the audiences tend to overlap enough, to do it just all in one.
Okay.
Otherwise, you're trying to make, instead of 30 sales, you're trying to make 120 sales.
Exactly, and that kind of defeats the whole purpose.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So another question that we have is, you know, do you have any, you know, what other tips do you have for people who are going to use this system? I know you said don't overthink it, but what are some of the other great ideas or great things that you've come across in your experience with this?
Yeah, so here are some of the best practices. Here's what the folks that are doing this and doing it right, they are presenting it. And I know that, again, that seems simple, but they're presenting it 2 to 4 times per week. They're getting out in front of business owners and saying, let me share with you our share of voice model for our streaming audience. And this is how it works, and you're going to be one of 30 advertisers, and you're going to get approximately this many commercials, you're going to get approximately this many impressions, and we need to have 5 different pieces of creative because that's what our audience really demands. And you know, they're just getting out there and presenting it. So that's number one. The second thing is you got to look for successes right away. And what I mean by successes is not, hey, congratulations, we've sold 10 of them, what a great success that is. What I mean is you got to find advertisers that are using your screen and it's working. And you got to document that. And you got to be able to tell that story. You got to tell the story of the Mazda dealership that's using your screen and can point to car sales that are being made, or the mortgage company, or the furniture store that's using your screen and is seeing results. When you can do that, that's when it's going to happen. So the 3 best practices would be: 1, make sure you're presenting at a disciplined amount of time, 2 to 4 times per week. You're actually getting out there and presenting it. And on the heels of that, you're really focused on the amount of creative copy that you're going to need. You're focusing more on what are you going to say versus how much is the value of each individual commercial. And then the last thing is look for successes, lots of successes.
Okay. What about pre-rolls? You know, we talked about all the in-stream spots. Now we've got this pre-roll video, this TV spot that you can play at the beginning of your stream. How do you figure that in? Do you sell 1, 2, 5?
Yeah, I would sell the pre-roll on share of voice as well. You know, whether that is one exclusive, or if you wanted to do, you know, which would obviously be 100% share of voice. I think the most I would sell is 4 different pre-rolls, because you want people to get enough frequency, so it's really working. So if you sold 4 different pre-rolls, you got a 25% share of voice. 1 out of every 4 is going to run. The pre-roll is fantastic. It's probably the one of the most valuable things on video out there right now. This is something that people have to see. They have to watch. They have to hear. They can't get around it. I'd keep it short. You know, 15. If it's video, 15 seconds seems to be the right amount of time. But I'd sell it the exact same way.
And how would you price it? Like twice the price of the package?
Maybe even 3 times.
Okay.
Again, yeah, it's that valuable. Again, you gotta know your market. You gotta know what your market ceilings are. But again, if you're only looking for, you know, if you're only going to allow it to go to 1, 2, 3, or 4 sponsors, they have to see the value of getting a 50% share of voice or a 25% share of voice. I mean, that's really, really good. It means every single time someone comes and listens to your stream, and you know how many times that is, they're going to see your commercial. Not only are you getting the frequency of the advertising, but you're also getting the implied association. It almost becomes like an endorsement. I mean, it's being almost brought to you by every time you see one of those commercials. So it's very valuable. 3 times valuable.
Awesome. So what are some of the pitfalls that you've seen people stumble into and mistakes that you've seen people make that have kind of paralyzed them from being as successful as they should be?
Yeah, you get, well, for so long you've been giving it away for free. Or even if you're, you know, manipulating the numbers internally so it doesn't look like you're giving it away for free, in the mind of the person that you were selling it to, they thought they were getting it for free. And so now, you know, what they're used to getting for free or for hardly anything, you're walking in there and going, oh, now it's $300 a month or $500 a month, whatever that price is that you came up with. And I can get it across the street from your competitor at no charge, just as added value. And so the pitfall is that you succumb to that and you say, oh, well, sorry. You know, and I think the better response is to say, well, you know, everyone values their product at what they think it's worth. We've adopted a share of voice strategy, So we're only going to allow 25 or 30 different advertisers to participate in reaching our audience. That's why it has value. But the biggest pitfall is when you say, oh, we need to give it to, or you say, this is a really good client, so we just need to give it to them. Well, I'm a really good client of American Airlines, and they don't give me free tickets all the time. I have to earn them. You could say to somebody, hey, if you'll spend, $500,000 with us, maybe, but you don't give this away. The moment you start giving it away, you're showing that it doesn't have value. And everything that we're talking about right now is about how to establish value. The other thing is you need to be able to speak both languages when you sell share of voice, because you are going to get somebody that says, well, how many impressions am I going to get per month with this? And while that's not your model for selling, you do need to know approximately how many impressions you will deliver, because you do know that information. And while that's not our chosen selling style, because it's a share of voice and you're paying a premium for share of voice, you got to know the answers to those questions. You got to know the answers to your audience makeup. You got to be able to say, oh yeah, our audience online is this. You still have to know your product.
Absolutely. All right. We're recording this webinar for those of you who have friends that weren't able to make it and want to be able to see this. We do have we're going to be recording it. It'll be up on our website and some other places within a couple of days. And I think we don't have any questions from the audience. If you have a question, you can type it into the little chat box on the side of the screen there, and we can get to those and answer those. It's not available. Oh, okay. Well, anyway, Matt, do you have any last thoughts about things that we haven't talked about that we should?
Well, let me just go back and kind of re-emphasize a couple of things, because I think that might be helpful. Switching from what you're currently doing to a share of voice can sometimes be difficult. In just making that commitment, making that switch, saying, you know what, this is what we're going to do. One of the reasons why is because you got a lot of old deals that are in the system. And so there's never a clean way to start it. Well, we can't do it right now because we have this deal that we promised so-and-so, and these guys are getting this, and plus we're doing this, and we're using it for added value here and there. So that's one of the things that poses a problem. But I'll say it to you another way. Not doing anything different and expecting that you're going to get different results is crazy, right? If you don't change the way you're currently doing it, you're not going to get different results than you're currently getting. And I will tell you from past experience that when we changed from selling it the way we used to sell it when I was at a station, selling it as either a cost per thousand or as an added value or a bolt-on, a tack-on solution, we generated X. When we switched to the share of voice method, when we switched to a model where we said every week we're going to present it this amount of times, when we switched to a method of we're going to look for advertisers that are getting results, and we're going to highlight those advertisers and tell those stories to prospects and of how it's working, we increased our revenue 15 times. And that's not an exaggeration. We really did increase our revenue 15 times. And I know from doing this webinar with you about a year ago that those folks that listen to this and do the share of voice, you'll increase your revenue too.
Awesome. And we had a couple of pre-questions that came in. I don't have them right in front of me now. I know that we covered most of them, I think. And what about the concept of having your entire sales team sell your digital versus having a dedicated digital sales team? What's your thoughts on that?
Well, so forever when it comes to selling streaming, everyone usually on the sales team has had the ability to sell streaming. But very few people have been charged with the responsibility to sell streaming. And there's a big difference between having the ability to do something and having the responsibility to do something. So I think you need a responsible sales organization. And if your current staff can take on the responsibility of selling it, and and you're confident in that there's accountability that you can put in place, that they're actually going to go out and do that, then use your current sales staff. If you want to fraction off a portion of your current team and say, while everybody has the ability to go out and sell advertising like we do every day, but only these 2 or 3 people are going to have the responsibility and the ability to sell the streaming, and we're going to count on these people to do it, that's another way to do it. Or hiring someone and just having them go out and sell the streaming. It makes sense to me that the same person that is selling advertising using the traditional stream would sell the online stream, because we're trying to sell it to the exact same advertiser. We're trying to sell it as a coordinated effort versus a new stream of advertisers. However, this notion of just saying to everyone, oh well, if you can sell it, hope it works, is ridiculous. We need people that will absolutely take on the responsibility. And with responsibility means that if you don't do it, there are consequences. And if you do it, that there are rewards. And so you have to be prepared to have both consequences and rewards.
Do you see a different compensation structure for online sales versus broadcast sales?
Usually what I've seen is people put together a bonus. Like, if we sell all 30 positions, whatever percent, if we sell all 30 positions, we're going to have a $5,000 bonus. And whatever percentage of the 30 you sold is the percentage of $5,000 that you'll get.
Okay.
That's really simple. That's easy math. And so if someone goes out and sells 50% of the 30 advertisers, they're going to get a nice $2,500 bonus. Pretty good on a $300 a month sale.
Absolutely.
And most managers out there, if they were able to generate $100,000 in streaming, would be thrilled.
Yeah. For sure, especially when they're going from zero.
Right, you can go from 0 to 100,000. So some sort of a bonus like that, because really, I mean, the magic happens when the thing is full.
And then you can, I think you can apply the standard of, well, now we've sold it out, so we have to. There's only one thing left to do, and that's to raise the rate.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you could even do a little bit of a sliding scale, right? You could say, okay, our base price is going to be $300 a month or $276 a month, but that's just going to be for the first 5 slots that we sell. And then it's going to go to $320 a month, and that's going to go until we sell 15 slots. And then it's going to go to $350 a month, and that's going to be until we have, you could do something like that too. You could apply the same metrics of supply and demand in something like this.
Sure, just like an airline seat.
Just like an airline seat, because you only have 30 slots or 25 slots. That's it.
I think that's one of the magic bullets of this whole plan, is that you've immediately created scarcity. You've created a limit to the number you can do.
Right, because the other side of this, the way we've always sold it in the past, is we had this feeling of, at least on the stream, of unlimited inventory. Well, when you have unlimited inventory, because the perception is nobody's selling this, so we have unlimited inventory, it has no value. Because you have unlimited inventory. Well, you guys don't sell out. Can't you just bonus me that? Well, yeah, when you have unlimited inventory, who cares?
Right.
When you only have 30 or 25 or 30 or whatever number you set, if that's all the inventory you have, that's all the inventory you have. And as that starts to go away, well, it gets easier to raise the price. And again, if we're focusing on the solution, we're focusing on the creative, we're focusing on getting results because we want more success stories, our focus is in the exact right area it should be.
Yeah, because I think that the lack of the lack of constraint kind of puts you in. If you don't have that limit, you're like a banner ad, and we all know what banner ads sell for.
Right, that's exactly right.
Next to nothing, because
right,
there are
and the more inventory you have, the cheaper it gets.
Right. All right, I think we've pretty much covered all the questions that we got in the beginning that people signed up for. I'm going to put up a slide here that has your contact information.
Yep.
I encourage you, if you're looking for great sales training to get your staff really energized and motivated, you talk to Matt Sunshine and the Center for Sales Strategy. Everybody that I know that's worked with this company has nothing but rave reviews for them. So I can say nothing but good things.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Absolutely.
We're happy to help, doing stuff like this and seeing, I can't tell you how great it was to see after we did that last webinar last time, a couple of companies jump on and do it and, take a chance and say, okay, we're going to give this a shot, and then to see them get results, that is so rewarding. And so I encourage everyone listening to do what we're telling you and to then follow up with us and let us know how it goes, and if we can help you, we will.
Absolutely, because we've got for Abacast, we've got a complete line of collateral materials that we put together. We've got some training programs for your local sales teams to help them understand a little bit more about digital, because obviously the more your salespeople know about what digital brings to the marketplace and the buying power of the digital audience and why an advertiser would want to use online radio as an advertising medium, the more effective they can be at selling these additional packages. So we've got all that available if you want to talk to us about that as well. So Matt, thank you very much for your time. We really appreciate it, and it's always fun to do these things and get some information out to the audience and help them make some money doing digital radio, because like I always say, a rising tide raises all ships.
That's right.
All right. Well, thank you much.
Thank you very much.
Take care.
Bye.